If you've ever had a nightmare and you thought you knew what it was about, think again. Nightmares, like dreams, are the brain's way of processing information and events that have happened to us during the day. But given how twisted and strange they often are, it begs the question, what is the deeper meaning? These are the 10 most common nightmares and their meanings. Number 1 is being naked in front of people. You're standing on stage or in front of a classroom full of people, when suddenly everyone starts laughing and you realize that you're completely naked. The nightmare is also often accompanied by an audience of fully clothed people. When you dream of being naked in front of your peers, this can often represent a fear of revealing something to others. Perhaps you have a secret that you're worried that people have or soon will discover. Being without clothes can also signify a loss of identity. Perhaps something has happened to you recently that made you question who you are. Maybe you're ashamed of something that you did or the person you've become. Along that line, it can also mean that you're feeling misjudged about an action you took or something you said. Regardless, it's often a distressing dream. Number 2 is being lost, trapped, or buried. No matter what age you are, being lost is a very upsetting experience, even when you're asleep. Whether you're stuck in a giant maze full of pits and dangers, or you find yourself being turned around in a massive forest, being lost is super stressful. The anxiety that takes over when feeling lost in these nightmares is symbolic of your real life insecurities about your path through life. When you're faced with world-altering decisions, any indecisiveness can be met with dreams that you can't find your way out of somewhere. But if you're more so trapped than lost, this can represent being stuck in life, perhaps in a relationship, a dead-end job, or even a school program you wish you hadn't chosen to take. Alternatively, if you find you don't feel scared when trapped, this can signify your desire to keep things the same. Maybe you're worried about losing a loved one or just don't want to give something up. And finally, being buried alive in a dream can represent a feeling of being overwhelmed in your waking life. It might be time to take a vacation or change something up. Number 3 is falling. Though falling is one of the most common nightmares people reportedly have, the circumstances surrounding the experience and ultimately how you feel while falling can drastically change the dream's meaning. For instance, if you're falling from the sky, this can indicate a fear of losing control of some elements of your life, or an insecurity that things aren't going to stay the way you like them. If you're falling into a hole or bottomless pit, this can represent something in your waking life that's overwhelming, such as a big project at work, a final exam, or waiting for major health news about yourself or a loved one. If you're falling towards water or even falling in the rain, this can symbolize a deeper emotional depth about whatever's troubling you. Perhaps your future at work, school, or in your relationship is in the hands of someone else, or maybe even fate itself. Sometimes insecurities about financial situations lead to the feeling that you're free falling, often without any land in sight to strike at the end of your downwards trip. Number 4 is seeing ghosts or the undead. Dreaming about ghosts, zombies, or seeing people that you just know are dead can be really unsettling and upsetting. Sometimes we see translucent, spectral images of people moving about in our dreams. Sometimes they're monstrous copies of their former selves that chase us, and sometimes it's just a person standing there, seemingly healthy, but our subconscious knows that something isn't right. However, we get this eerie feeling, and the reason behind it is what's important. A ghost's presence doesn't necessarily mean impending doom. The dead can symbolize regret, thoughts you find upsetting, or a repressed memory trying to break through. Additionally, seeing a ghost can represent a task or goal you're having trouble achieving, and seeing a zombie can actually signify a major change in your life, as the way you've been living is fundamentally changed for the worse. Number 5 is unable to speak or move. When it comes to nightmares in which you can't speak or move, often the motivation comes from regret or frustration. Being mute can represent a situation in which you should have spoken up or warned someone of something but you didn't, or that you feel like you can't be heard anymore, as if no one cares about your opinion. Maybe you were afraid to speak up during a big staff meeting or even around friends, for fear that your idea would be rejected or you would be attacked harshly. Alternatively, if an event in your life literally left you without words, This can seep over into your subconscious and leave you unable to speak in your nightmares. Being unable to move can signify your fear of taking the next step into something, perhaps a career path, or even becoming engaged to that special someone. Immobility can also represent the feeling that you're stuck in life, in a dead-end job, stale friendships, or, sadly, in a relationship that's just run its course. This can be even more impactful if you're stuck on the spot and there's an impending disaster about to happen to you. Number 6 is being chased. Close to the top of the most common nightmare people seem to have is one in which they're being chased by another person, such as an evil creature of some kind, or even an exact copy of themselves. When faced with real-life dangers, human beings either fight or flee the situation, and any dreams of being pursued can represent their need to flee from events or situations that they can't seem to handle in their waking lives. Often, how far away whatever's chasing you is can reveal just how close you are to the circumstance you're trying to dodge. If what's chasing you is another person, the first step to figuring out what it is you're running from is to identify who's chasing you. A disapproving parent, boss, or other authority figure are popular individuals to have chased dreamers. An evil creature chasing you can represent the demons from your past trying to catch up with you. And if it's you chasing, well, you, then you may be trying to outrun a decision you're going to have to make eventually. Number 7 is being abandoned. One of the most shaking, depressing nightmares you can have is one in which you're being abandoned. But while actually being abandoned brings about real sadness, simply dreaming about it can actually bring about reflection on how strong you are characteristically, even reveal your own clinginess. Often when we have a nightmare about people leaving us behind, it's because we're too overly attached to a person, place, or thing, and this overdependence is weighing heavily on your mind. If you can't be without certain possessions, or can't go a day without posting on your buddy's Facebook page, this could manifest as a dream of being abandoned. Additionally, traumas from childhood that you may have repressed could be creeping back. Or if you've recently lost a loved one, that could be creating the feeling that you're being left to yourself. A good piece of advice is to note where you are when you're being abandoned in the nightmare, because the more public a place you are, say for example in an airport, the lonelier you might just be feeling. Number 8 is taking a big test or exam. If you find yourself struggling in your sleep to pass some test, this could mean you've been experiencing a lack of confidence in some aspect of your life. Maybe you're worried about taking a risk or scared about a big event coming up. It's actually common for expecting parents to have these dreams that they're being tested in a classroom, as if how they do on the quiz will reflect how good they'll be as a parent. Additionally, to dream that you're being tested can represent the feeling that you're being tested while awake. Nothing adds to stress like knowing that the work you're doing is being analyzed, perhaps for a performance review or a big promotion at work. Number 9 is being cheated on. Dreaming that your partner cheated on you doesn't necessarily mean that they did so in real life, or even that you're worried about they're going to. Often, it means that you're worried about the stability of your relationship, or maybe even your career. Sometimes we dream that the person closest to us betrayed us emotionally because our lack of trust in ourselves or our decisions. Many people who aren't even in relationships dream of being cheated on, sometimes by an ex and others by a faceless partner. This can actually signify guilt in yourself for past mistakes, or even that you've just had bad luck with exes. And number 10 is death. And finally, the granddaddy of them all. Whether it's you seeing a loved one's dead body or facing the Grim Reaper yourself, dreaming about death is one of those dreams, like I mentioned before, that can stay with you for days. In dreams, death represents an end, but almost never represents the end of a life unless that's a reality you're facing health-wise. It can symbolize the end of a relationship, the end of a job, or schooling, or even a phase of your life. Death is an absolute, and sometimes seeing it is our subconscious's way of saying this part of your life is truly over, time for the next phase. For instance, sometimes people dream of facing death when they're moving to a new city, or even on the nights before their wedding day. Expectant first-time parents often dream of death, not just in seeing their child, but death in many forms. High-stress, life-changing events can manifest the Grim Reaper and reveal to you just how different things are going to be from now on. So, those were the 10 most common nightmares and their meanings. But I want to know, have you ever had a really weird nightmare? Leave it as a comment below and explain what it was about. This should get interesting. I'll be reading through your comments and I'm going to pin the best one to the top. But as always, thank you guys so much for coming by today, and don't forget to come back tomorrow and every weekday at exactly 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'll have a brand new video for you. I'll see you then.